Hi everybody, it's Samantha. From idols who have been arrested for driving under the influence to stars that were caught with illegal substances, here are 14 celebs that have been to jail.
Number 14, Khloe Kardashian.
The youngest of the Kardashian sisters ran into legal issues in 2007 when she was arrested one night for driving under the influence.
She was originally only sentenced to community service and alcohol counseling classes, but after missing various sessions due to her increasing schedule, she then faced a 30-day jail sentence and mandatory enrollment in a rehab program. Luckily for her, she was released after just 3 hours into her time served due to overcrowding. This didn't keep the famous family from taking advantage of the moment. However, as the arrest would go on to be recreated for the hit reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians later that year. Number 13, Mike the Situation Sorrentino. Co-star of MTV's hit show Jersey Shore, Mike Sorrentino, better known as The Situation, first had his troubles with the law in June of 2014 when he was arrested after engaging in a brawl at a tanning salon. While viewers of the reality show may find this behavior somewhat typical for the New Jersey native, his next bout of legal troubles may catch some by surprise. Nearly 3 months later, Sorrentino would again find himself in a pickle when he was charged with tax fraud, as prosecutors claimed he hadn't paid taxes on almost $9 million worth of revenue. As the trial continued, further investigations would add charges of tax evasion as well, and 4 years after its beginning, his case finally reached sentencing when Sorrentino agreed to a plea bargain. The Situation was sentenced to 8 months in prison and an additional 2 years of probation and 500 hours of community service in October of 2018. Number 12, Paris Hilton. Similar to Khloe Kardashian, the hotel chain Harris was arrested and charged with driving under the influence at a blood alcohol content of 0.08% in 2006.
2 months later, her license was suspended, and in January 2007, she was sentenced to 3 years of probation and fined $1,500.
But that encounter wasn't enough to scare Hilton straight as she would. In the same month as her sentencing, be stopped for driving with a suspended license. She didn't face any further punishments for this infringement, but only a month later, she was stopped a third time when she was caught without headlights at night, driving through a 35-mile-an-hour zone at 70 miles per hour. Following this third strike, she was found to be in violation of her probation, and Hilton was subsequently sentenced to 45 days in jail. But Hilton, who admitted herself to the detention facility after attending the MTV Movie Awards that year, would only serve a total of 18 days in prison, split by an attempted sheriff-ordered reassignment that would be refused in court by the overseeing judge. Number 11, Tiger Woods. In the days following an article in the National Enquirer stating the professional golf phenom's supposed affair, Tiger Woods would make global headlines when he crashed his Cadillac Escalade into a fire hydrant, hedges, and a tree in 2009. After receiving treatment for minor cuts on his face, Woods was arrested on charges of driving under the influence. Tests from the accident showed that he had 2 separate sleep medications and 2 separate pain medications in his system. He also came up positive for components of an illegal substance and showed signs of intoxication such as being asleep at the wheel and demonstrating slurred speech and slowed motor functions. Months later, Woods had the DUI charge lowered to that of reckless driving, to which he pleaded guilty and entered a DUI diversion program. But damage to the celebrity athlete's reputation had already been done, as sponsors began to drop him almost immediately following the incident. This tailspin of his career would lead to a divorce a year later, as Woods and his wife of 7 years, Ellen, split. But Tiger wasn't done dealing with the law yet, as he would again be arrested in 2017, once more asleep in his car, for another DUI. Strangely enough, Woods had the charge lowered to reckless driving a second time and only recently finished his sentenced year of probation, along with other assigned requirements. Number 10, Amy Schumer.
This comedian and actress is well known for her outspoken views on feminism, gun control, and other social issues with her comedy.
This has made her somewhat of a polarizing figure politically, but also a hero among some for using her position to speak out on these problems. But defending her position on social issues took a negative turn in 2018, when Schumer was arrested while protesting the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh, charged with violating local law against crowding and obstructing. According to police, Schumer was detained along with more than 300 other people that had been at the protest. Schumer wasn't the only celebrity to face the law on that day, though, as model Emily Ratajkowski was also among those arrested on Capitol Hill. Number 9, Tim Allen. Long before his last man standing days, or stint as Tim, the Toolman Taylor, Tim Allen was the mustache bad boy comedian still a decade away from breaking into the acting industry when he had his troubles with the law. While traveling through the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport in Michigan, Allen was caught attempting to smuggle 1.43 pounds of illegal substances in 1978. He pled guilty in the court of law to charges of felony trafficking and made a deal with the prosecutors, exchanging the names of other dealers in exchange for a lowered sentence. Rather than receiving a potential lifetime in prison, Allen was able to get out on parole in just 28 months. By 1988, he was making his film debut as a small part in the movie Tropical Snow, a movie about illegal substance smuggling. Number 8, Remy Ma. The rap star, known for her contributions on hit songs like 2004's Lean Back and 2016's All the Way Up, as well as her starring role on VH1's Love and Hip Hop New York, faced serious charges in 2007. In July of that year, year, Remy Ma turned herself into police relating to a shooting incident that occurred earlier in the morning. The victim was a woman that Remy Ma had accused of stealing $1,000 from her. That same victim would go on to identify Remy Ma as the shooter. She pled not guilty, but the trial got complicated when just a few months later the rap songstress would be charged with witness tampering as Remy Ma's male friends assaulted a witness's boyfriend. The following year, she would be convicted of assault, attempted coercion, and illegal weapon possession. But Remy Ma would go on to serve 6 years at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in New York, eventually being released in August of 2014. She married her fiancé Papoose and still managed to release a mixtape titled Bloss Remy. Number 7. Alec Baldwin. While he tends to play brash, snarky humor and roles, the 60-year-old actor has never been known for keeping his cool. Having had his late-night show canceled after a vulgar remark with a reporter and having lobbed many an insult at peers in the entertainment industry, Baldwin has become notorious for his outbursts. But his temper reached a new plateau in November of 2018 when he was arrested for allegedly punching another civilian in Manhattan after an argument over parking.
He was charged with third-degree attempt assault, a misdemeanor, as well as a second-degree harassment.
Baldwin's trial is set to continue in early 2019. Number 6. Amanda Bynes. The former Nickelodeon star has experienced a career roller coaster since leaving the children's television network, due in part to her extreme nightlife habits. Life got especially out of hand for Bynes when in 2012 she was charged with a DUI in West Hollywood. But the case took 2 years to resolve, and eventually the charge was dropped in exchange for a 3-year probation sentence. In 2013, Bynes ran into trouble on the other side of the country when she was charged with reckless endangerment and illegal substance possession, but the case was dismissed in 2014. Things really went off the rails, though, when back in California, the actress was found starting a fire in a stranger's driveway by county sheriffs. Bynes was hospitalized for 3 days to evaluate her mental health, and as a result of this 2014 incident, her parents received conservatorship over her affairs and have since continued to file for it while she continues to get her life in order. Number 5. Robert Downey Jr. Thanks to the success of the Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes franchises, Robert Downey Jr. has enjoyed a new role in the 21st century as one of Hollywood's most smooth, suave, and sophisticated actors. But prior to this new image, he had built a reputation as a troublemaker, to say the least.
Between 1996 and 2001, Downey was in and out of tabloid headlines for a wide variety of substance charges.
Having repeatedly been assigned to treatment programs, he claimed to have been unable to kick his habit due to building an addiction at an early age. Of his various transgressions, his heaviest sentence came when Downey spent a year in California abuse treatment and state prison facilities, before a surprising release in 2000. He immediately signed on to a new role on the popular show Ally McBeal before facing arrest once more at the end of his first season with the program. After going through 12-step programs, rehabilitation and therapy, learning to practice yoga, meditation, and kung fu, and marrying the love of his life, Susan Levine, he's claimed to be substance-free since 2003. Number 4. Michelle Rodriguez. As a star of the high-octane Fast and Furious franchise, one would think Michelle Rodriguez can handle herself behind the wheel. But in 2003, Rodriguez found herself facing 8 misdemeanor charges arising from a hit-and-run accident and a DUI incident, occurring separately at that. She pled no contest to 3 of the charges and served 48 hours in jail, as well as completed her community service and alcohol program. And she was placed on 3 years of probation to boot. Then in 2005, while in Hawaii for the shooting of the TV show Lost, had multiple infractions including speeding violations and another DUI, resulting in a $500 fine and a 5-day jail sentence. That wasn't the end of the punishment though, as these events violated her Los Angeles probation. She was assigned to more jail time, community service, and alcohol programs, but due to overcrowding, was released from jail the day she entered. In 2007, she was accused of failing to follow up on the prior sentencing, so Rodriguez served 18 days in jail as a result and finally finished her community service in 2009.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Number 3. Shia LaBeouf. Distancing himself from the mainstream success of his Disney Channel beginnings and popular Transformers franchise, LaBeouf has pursued somewhat of an eccentric lifestyle in the last decade. His artistic endeavors and means of expression have often caught the public off guard, and his passion can come off intense, if not downright abrasive. When combined with alcohol, though, this can spell problems for the actor. One night in 2014, LaBeouf got in trouble for criminal trespassing and disorderly conduct at the famous Studio 54 theater. Refusing to leave, he reportedly spat and swore at arresting officers. Then in July of 2017, he had another similar incident in Savannah, Georgia. Footage from the arresting officers' body cams revealed an enraged LaBeouf unleashing a vulgar rant at the authorities. He was found not guilty on public intoxication charges, but pleaded no contest to charges of disorderly conduct and served 12 months on probation and paid a fine of $1,000.
Since then, he's sought out anger management counseling and has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. and seems to be doing way better.
Number 2. Lauryn Hill. An icon of 90s hip-hop, Lauryn Hill has maintained a solid reputation in the music industry with the ability to sell out venues well over a decade after the release of her solo studio album. Her future fell into question, however, when she was charged with 3 counts of failing to file taxes or tax fraud on $1.8 million of income she received in the mid-2000s. She pled guilty to the charges the same month as the filing. However, in a year's time, she had only paid $50,000 of the total $554,000 she owed to the government. As such, she was issued a sentence of 3 months in jail, followed by 3 months of house arrest. By the time she reported her jail time in 2013, Hill had already paid back $970,000 in taxes and penalties owed. Still, Hill wasn't released until just a few days before her sentence was up, and today she's back to performing, touring, and mothering her 6 children. Number 1. Tekashi 6ix9ine. The popular SoundCloud rapper has been in hot water since dealing with court cases stemming back to 2015.
But in 2018, his legal troubles boiled over gang-related conflicts and led investigations to Tekashi's front door.
Charged with racketeering and firearms charges, including conspiracy to commit armed robbery and murder. He and 4 of his associates were arrested. Though attorneys had pled for bail, the presiding judge ruled that the rapper still posed a threat to the community and thus denied requests. He has since been moved out of the general population at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center after altercations with rival gangs.
Today's featured comment comes from Might Sweet Piggies on our 11 Amazing Facts About Dreams video. Thanks for the comment, Sweet Piggies. Be sure to leave your comments below and we might feature you in a future video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.